The scream still echoes in my head sometimes. Mom's voice cracked through the phone like breaking glass. "You're a disgrace to this family. Don't ever call me again. I don't have a daughter." Each word stabbed deeper than the last. I stood frozen in my tiny apartment, holding the phone even after she hung up. The silence felt heavier than her screaming. My hand shook as I pulled the phone away from my ear. Something inside me whispered to save that voicemail. I didn't know why then, but I listened. I pressed the buttons carefully, making sure it was stored. The apartment felt colder suddenly. I sank onto my couch, replaying what just happened. This couldn't be real. Moms don't say things like that. But mine just did. And somehow I knew this wasn't over. 3 days passed in a blur. I barely ate, barely slept. Then I opened Facebook and my world exploded. Mom's posts sat at the top of my feed, already shared 47 times. Some children forget who raised them. Mine cut me off after everything I did for her. My stomach dropped. Comments flooded beneath it. "Mrs. Patterson from church. So heartbreaking. Uncle James. Praying for you. Cousin Beth. I always thought she was ungrateful." The lies spread like wildfire through our small town. I scrolled through comment after comment, each one twisting the knife deeper. My hands trembled as I read. She was rewriting history, painting herself as the victim. And everyone believed her. The next morning at work, my boss, Mr. Thompson, called me into his office. He placed his phone on the desk, showing Mom's post. "Emily," he said quietly, "is this about you?" Everything collapsed after that. My church friends stopped responding to my texts. The group chat went silent whenever I posted anything. Even Aunt Carol, who used to bake me cookies every Sunday, commented under Mom's post. "So disappointed in you, Emily." I felt like I was drowning. Walking through town became torture. People stared and whispered. The cashier at the grocery store, who'd known me since I was 10, wouldn't meet my eyes. I came home each day exhausted from pretending I was okay. My small circle of friends tried to help, but most didn't understand. They hadn't heard what Mom said to me. They only saw her public pain. One night, I sat alone in my apartment, replaying that voicemail. Her words cut through the silence. "I don't have a daughter." My hands shook. I whispered to the empty room. I didn't cut her off. She did. I needed to remember how this started. 2 months ago, I sat across from Mom in her kitchen. Sunlight streamed through the yellow curtains she'd hung 20 years ago. "I'm not taking over the daycare, Mom," I said, trying to stay calm. Her face darkened instantly. She'd run Little Sprouts daycare for 30 years, and she expected me to continue the legacy. But I had different dreams. I wanted to build an online tutoring company, helping kids who struggled like I once did. "You're selfish," she hissed. "Ungrateful. Just like your father." That comparison always hurts the most. Dad left when I was 8, and she'd spent 18 years making sure I knew I reminded her of him. "Mom, please understand," I started. Then her hand flew across my face. The slap echoed in the quiet kitchen. "Get out," she whispered. "And don't come back." Mom didn't stop with Facebook. She started calling family members one by one. Aunt Carol told me later that Mom claimed I'd stolen money from the daycare. Uncle James heard I'd abandoned Mom when she needed me most. Cousin Beth was told I'd been lying about Mom for years. The stories varied, but the message stayed the same. I was the villain. Then my cousin Maya, who lived 3 states away, sent me screenshots. Mom had been texting her entire contact list. Emily turned her back on family. She's spreading lies about me. I gave her everything, and this is how she will repay me. I stared at the messages, feeling sick. Maya added her own note. "I don't believe her, but you need to see what she's doing." I saved every screenshot. Something hardened inside me that day. If Mom wanted to tell stories, maybe it was time for the truth. I started going through my phone that night. Every voicemail, every text, every email from the past year. Mom's words jumped out at me from the screen. "You're worthless without me. Nobody will ever love you like I do. You'll come crawling back." Message after message, dripping with manipulation and cruelty. I created a folder on my laptop, organizing everything by date. There were 43 voicemails total. 15 texts telling me I was a disappointment. 8 emails explaining why I'd never succeed. The evidence painted a clear picture of who'd really cut off whom. But the collection came too late for one thing. My boss called me into his office again. "Emily, HR needs to address the situation," Mr. Thompson said carefully. "Your mother's posts are creating concerns." My promotion, the one I'd worked 2 years for, hung in the balance. Mom's lies were about to cost me everything. I sat in the small conference room, facing Mr. Thompson and Patricia from HR. My heart hammered against my ribs. Patricia folded her hands on the table. "We've received questions about your family situation," she said. "We need to understand what's happening." The words stuck in my throat. How could I explain? Mr. Thompson's expression was neutral, but his eyes held concern. I thought about staying silent, letting Mom's version win. Then I remembered her screaming that I wasn't her daughter. "I have proof," I said quietly. Both of them looked up. "Proof of what?" Patricia asked. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. Proof that I didn't cut her off. She disowned me first. The room fell silent. Mr. Thompson glanced at Patricia, then back at me. "We're listening," he said. I took a deep breath and pressed play on the first voicemail. Mom's voice filled the conference room. "You're a disgrace to this family. Don't ever call me again. I don't have a daughter." The hatred in her tone made Patricia flinch. Mr. Thompson's face shifted from neutral to shocked. When the voicemail ended, silence stretched between us. Patricia cleared her throat. "How many of these are there?" she asked softly. 43 voicemails, I answered. Plus texts and emails. Mr. Thompson leaned back in his chair, processing everything. "Emily, I'm sorry you're going through this." Patricia nodded in agreement. "This clearly isn't what your mother portrayed online. Your job is secure." Relief crashed over me like a wave. I'd kept my position. The promotion was still possible. As I left the conference room, Mr. Thompson stopped me at the door. He spoke quietly, almost gently. "You should make this right, publicly." His words followed me home that night. Could I really do that? Should I? For days, I wrestled with the decision. Exposing Mom's words felt cruel, even after everything she'd done. I wasn't raised to air family problems publicly. But staying silent was slowly destroying me. Every time I went outside, I felt the weight of everyone's judgment. The town had decided I was the bad daughter. Mom's narrative had won. I paced my apartment, phone in hand, staring at the folder of evidence. Could I really post this? Would people even believe me? Or would they say I'd manipulated the recordings? Then my childhood friend Kayla sent me a message. "Your mom told everyone you blocked her for no reason. Is it true?" My heart sank. Even Kayla, who'd known me since 3rd grade, was questioning me. I typed and deleted 5 different responses. Finally, I just wrote, "No, that's not what happened." But I knew a simple denial wouldn't change anything. The truth needed to speak for itself. I woke up to chaos. Someone had anonymously posted one of Mom's voicemails in our town's Facebook group. I didn't do it, but whoever did had shared the one where Mom called me worthless. The comments section exploded overnight. People who'd shamed me were now questioning Mom's story. Mrs. Patterson wrote, "This doesn't sound like someone who was abandoned." Others defended Mom, saying the recording could be fake or taken out of context. The group split into 2 sides, arguing back and forth. My phone buzzed constantly with notifications. Friends asked if I'd posted it. Family members demanded explanations. Then Mom's voicemail came through, angrier than I'd ever heard her. "Take it down, or I'll ruin you even more," she shrieked. Her fury crackled through the speaker. I saved that voicemail too, my hand steady this time. I looked at my growing collection of evidence and whispered to myself, "You just did." I invited 3 close friends to my apartment that evening. Kayla, Marcus, and Diana sat on my couch as I played several voicemails on speaker. With each recording, their expressions shifted from curiosity to horror. Mom's voice echoed through my small living room, venomous and cold. "I wish I never had you. You're nothing without me. Don't ever contact me again." When the last voicemail ended, Diana had tears in her eyes. Marcus looked furious. Kayla grabbed my hand. "Emily, this is abuse," she said firmly. "People need to know the truth." Marcus nodded. "She's destroying your reputation with lies. You have every right to defend yourself." Diana wiped her eyes. "What if you told your story yourself? Not anonymous. You." The idea terrified me, but it also felt right. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel alone. My friends saw the truth. Maybe others would too. "I'll think about it," I promised. I spent the entire next day writing and rewriting a post. Every word had to be perfect, truthful but not cruel, firm but not vengeful. I wanted people to understand what really happened without making Mom look like a monster. Even after everything, she was still my mother. That complicated things. The post explained the fight, her words, the disownment. I kept it factual, avoiding emotional language. Before posting, I recorded a short video. My hands shook as I spoke to the camera. "This is my truth," I said simply. "I'm not seeking revenge. I'm seeking peace." I uploaded the video as a teaser, planning to share the full story later. Within an hour, Mom commented under it. "Attention seeker," she wrote. "Always making everything about yourself." Her words should have hurt, but instead, they solidified my decision. I was done being silent. That night, I hit post on the full story, attaching one voicemail, the famous "You're not my daughter anymore" recording. I barely slept that night. When I woke up, my phone was flooded with notifications. The video had 10,000 views. Comments poured in faster than I could read them. "She gaslit you for years. This is textbook narcissistic behavior. We see you, Emily. We believe you." People shared their own stories of family estrangement and manipulation. Strangers offered support and validation. The tide was turning. Even people who'd initially sided with Mom were reconsidering. Mrs. Patterson from church messaged me privately. "I'm so sorry I judged you without knowing the full story." Others in town began reaching out with apologies. But the most telling change happened that afternoon. I checked Facebook to see if Mom had responded. Her entire profile had disappeared overnight. Vanished. No posts, no comments, no trace. She'd either deleted her account or blocked everyone. The woman who'd built her victim narrative so publicly had gone completely silent. Then Mom's email arrived. The subject line read, "How could you?" I almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity won. "You humiliated me," she wrote. "Everyone's turning on me. Neighbors won't talk to me. The church asked me to step back from volunteering. Are you happy now? You've destroyed my reputation and made me look like a terrible person. All I ever did was love you." The words were classic Mom, manipulative, guilt-inducing, painting herself as the victim. But this time, they didn't work. I opened the folder of voicemails and clicked on one at random. Her voice spilled out. "I wish I never had you. You've ruined my life." The contrast between her email and her recorded words was stunning. She expected me to feel guilty for telling the truth. My eyes filled with tears, but not from shame, from relief. I wiped them away and whispered, "I won't feel guilty for the truth." A week later, a journalist named Claire Stevens reached out. She worked for the local newspaper and had seen my story trending online. "Would you be willing to share your experience on record?" she asked. "This could help others dealing with toxic family dynamics." I hesitated. Going public in the newspaper felt bigger than social media, more permanent. But Claire seemed genuine. We met at a coffee shop downtown, and I told her everything. She listened carefully, taking notes, asking thoughtful questions. "This isn't about revenge, is it?" she asked. I shook my head. It's about awareness. People need to know that family abuse is real, even when it doesn't leave physical scars. The article was published 3 days later under the headline, "Breaking the Silence: One Woman's Story of Family Estrangement." It trended in the local news section, then got picked up by regional outlets. My story was reaching people beyond our small town. But with wider attention came wider division. The town split cleanly in half. Half the people sided with me, finally understanding what I'd endured. They shared the article, left supportive comments, and reached out with their own stories. But the other half accused me of airing family business publicly. Some things should stay private, they said. You're disrespecting your mother. The local diner became a battleground of whispered arguments. I heard about heated discussions at church, even families divided over whose side to take. The controversy exhausted me. I just wanted peace, but I'd sparked a war instead. Then one afternoon, I looked up from my desk at work to see Mom standing in the doorway. Her eyes were red and puffy. Coworkers stopped talking, sensing drama. We need to talk, Mom said loudly. Everyone in the office turned to watch. My heart pounded. This was the confrontation I dreaded. I stood up slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. About what? Mom's voice cracked as she spoke, loud enough for everyone to hear. All I wanted was my daughter back. Is that so terrible? Tears streamed down her face. She looked genuinely heartbroken. For a moment, I almost wavered. Several coworkers watched with sympathy in their eyes. This was Mom's specialty, public performances that made her look like the victim. But I'd learned my lesson. My voice shook, but I kept it calm and clear. You told me to stay out of your life. Remember? I said. You screamed that I wasn't your daughter anymore. Her expression flickered. Just for a second. The mask slipped. She hadn't expected me to confront her words directly. That's not. You're twisting things, she stammered. I was upset, but I never meant. You meant every word, I said quietly. And I have the recordings to prove it. Her face flushed red. She looked around at my coworkers, realizing her performance wasn't working. You'll regret this, she shouted, then stormed out. The office fell silent. Later that week, Marcus told me something shocking. He'd been at the grocery store when he overheard Mom talking to her friend Paula. He'd secretly started recording when he heard my name. In the recording, Mom admitted everything. Of course I knew what I was doing, she said. I needed people's sympathy. Emily was making me look bad, so I had to control the narrative first. Paula's shocked response was audible. But you told everyone she abandoned you. Mom laughed bitterly. People believe what they want to believe. I just gave them a good story. Marcus sent me the audio file. I listened 3 times, feeling numb. She'd manipulated everyone deliberately, knowingly. The recording spread quietly through town. People who defended Mom began distancing themselves. But the damage to our relationship was permanent. That evening, Mom left one final voicemail. You destroyed me, she said, her voice empty and cold. I hope you're satisfied. I saved it with all the others. Evidence of who she really was. I sat in my therapist's office, phone in my lap, debating my next move. I had all the evidence now, every voicemail, every text the recording Marcus captured. I could release everything and completely vindicate myself. But Dr. Anderson asked me a question that stopped me cold. Are you proving her wrong or proving yourself free? She said gently. I stared at the carpet, thinking, what did I really want? Revenge felt hollow. Destroying Mom's reputation wouldn't heal me. But staying silent had nearly destroyed me instead. I need to find a middle ground, I said finally. The truth, but not cruelty. Dr. Anderson nodded. Then share what serves that purpose. Nothing more, nothing less. That night, I decided to make one final statement. Not to hurt Mom, but to free myself completely. To show others trapped in similar situations that speaking up was okay. I wrote a script, practiced it twice, and set up my phone to record. My final video opened with a deep breath and steady eyes. I never wanted revenge, I said to the camera. I wanted peace. But peace can't come from silence. I explained everything. The fight, the disownment, Mom's public lies, the way silence had nearly cost me my job and my sanity. Then I played short clips from several voicemails, just 10 to 15 seconds each. Enough to show the pattern without being gratuitous. Mom's voice cut through. You're worthless. I don't have a daughter. Don't ever contact me. Each clip revealed the truth more clearly than my words ever could. I ended the video with a simple message. If you're in a toxic family situation, you're not alone. Speaking up isn't betrayal. Sometimes it's survival. The video went viral overnight. Not just locally, globally. Thousands of people shared it, adding their own stories of family estrangement and emotional abuse. The comments flooded in from around the world. Thank you for your courage. This helped me understand my own situation. You saved me. Within days, the video hit 100,000 views. News outlets requested interviews. Support groups shared it as an educational resource. But the biggest impact was local. Mom's reputation completely collapsed. Friends stopped calling her. Her daycare enrollment dropped by half as parents reconsidered who she really was. Former allies sent me private messages. We had no idea. She fooled all of us. I felt strange about it. Not triumphant, but sad. This wasn't the outcome I'd wanted. I just wanted the truth known so I could move forward. Then Aunt Carol called me, crying. I'm so sorry, Emily. I should have listened to you. We talked for an hour. She explained how Mom had manipulated her with tears and lies. I saw what I wanted to see, Carol admitted. A heartbroken mother, not an abusive one. Slowly, relationships began rebuilding. Not with Mom, but with family members who'd been deceived. One of Mom's coworkers texted me. She quit today. Just walked out mid-shift. Mom was unraveling. 3 weeks passed. I focused on healing, seeing Dr. Anderson twice a week, rebuilding my life piece by piece. The promotion at work came through. Friends rallied around me. The online tutoring company I dreamed of was finally taking shape. Then a letter arrived in my mailbox. Handwritten, addressed to me in Mom's distinctive cursive. My hands shook as I opened it. Emily, it began. I don't deserve forgiveness. I know that now. I've spent 3 weeks looking in the mirror, seeing who I've become. You didn't destroy me. I destroyed myself. Years ago, I lost myself in bitterness and control. I blamed you for everything wrong in my life. But you're just a child who needed love, and I failed you. The letter continued for 3 pages. Not excuses, but acknowledgement. Not manipulation, but honesty. It ended simply, I just hope one day you heal from me. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Not from forgiveness. I wasn't there yet. But from closure. The kind I'd never expected. I placed the letter in a drawer next to my old phone. Then, I did something I'd been putting off. I opened the voicemail folder and stared at the list. 43 recordings of pain and abuse. Evidence I'd needed to protect myself. But I didn't need them anymore. The truth was out. My reputation was restored. Most importantly, I was free. I selected all the voicemails and hovered my finger over the delete button. For a moment, I hesitated. These recordings were proof of what I'd survived. But holding on to them meant holding on to the pain. Dr. Anderson's words echoed in my mind. Healing means letting go of what no longer serves you. I pressed delete. One by one, the voicemails disappeared. The weight I'd carried for months lifted from my shoulders. My phone felt lighter in my hand. I looked at Mom's letter once more, then closed the drawer. Some stories don't end with reconciliation. Some end with release. And that was enough. A year passed. I stood backstage at a youth empowerment event, smoothing my dress and trying to calm my nerves. They'd asked me to speak about emotional abuse and healing. Me, the girl who'd once been too scared to defend herself. The moderator called my name, and I walked onto the stage. Hundreds of young faces looked up at me. I took a breath and began. Sometimes, love means letting go of the people who refuse to see you, I said. I told my story, not all the details, but the heart of it. The manipulation, the public shaming, the moment I choose truth over silence. Speaking up doesn't make you disloyal, I told them. It makes you brave. Several students wiped their eyes. Others nodded in recognition. After the speech, a line formed. Kids wanted to talk, to share their stories, to say thank you. One girl, maybe 16, hugged me tight. You gave me permission to save myself, she whispered. That moment made everything worth it. I drove home that evening as the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. My phone buzzed with messages from people who'd watched the speech online. The video was already being shared. But I felt calm, peaceful. The girl who'd stood frozen in her apartment a year ago, listening to her mother scream, felt like a different person. That Emily had been trapped, silenced, convinced she deserved the treatment she received. This Emily knew better. I pulled into my driveway and sat in the car for a moment, reflecting. Mom's letter sat in my drawer at home, still unread most days. I hadn't responded, and I didn't plan to. Forgiveness might come someday, but it wasn't required for healing. I'd learned that. I stepped out of the car and looked up at the stars beginning to appear. Mom's final words to me had been, "You're not my daughter anymore." She meant it as a curse, but I'd turned it into freedom. I whispered to the night sky. She said I wasn't her child anymore, but I became the woman she never could be.